All right, shalom, shalom. Elder Boaz here. Well, early in the morning, what we decided to do was to start putting on this bubble in this roof early in the morning. And this is due to the simple fact that, you know, when you're putting on bubble, that's the insulation that goes on top of the building. The rays from the sun reflect off on you. And if you're in the 90-degree heat, and them rays, you know, the reflective side, the silver side of the bubble, it hits you, and you're up on a roof. I mean, it is brutal. So the idea is to get out here as early as possible to beat the sun and beat the heat to get this stuff done, because you know, handling metal and handling bubble in 90, 100-degree heat on a sunny day is just, it's unbearable. We packed up yesterday to start early because it was just too unbearable. But I was out here and I was thinking, and I see what's going on, and I've seen it for many years now, probably about 6-7 years, when I came to the knowledge of what's going on in this world, whether it's economically, politically, socially, or even spiritually. You know, I saw certain things, and I saw certain trends that I knew would take place. You know, it's just basic deductive reasoning and logic of where we're going to be going and how these things are going to be panning out. And as you know, or many of you may know, that we have a serious debt problem in this country. It is stated that we have more than $70 trillion in debt. Now, this is not including the $21 trillion in national debt. We're talking about another $1 trillion plus in student loan debt. We're talking about $4 trillion. Is estimated that the average household will be in $4 trillion in credit card debt. Now, this is outside of student loan debt. By the end of 2019, I believe, or end of 2018, $4 trillion. You got the student loan debt, like I said, trillions of dollars in student loan debt. Now, this is from the ages of 25 to 30-something, I think, but it's just across the board. You have the auto loan debt crisis, where people are taking out auto loans, and these auto loans have reached into the trillions of dollars in auto loan debt. So you have different, again, you have different debt pools. You have student loan, you have auto, you have credit card, and then you have mortgage debt. And it's being estimated that the average person is going to take damn near 25% plus of their net income to service debt. Now, you put on top of that, you have a light bill, you have a gas bill, you have a water bill, you have a sewage bill, you have an electric bill, you have rent. And after all of that is done, the average American is pretty much not left with anything to save at the end of the month. And, you know, it's interesting, I got a letter in the mail offering me a $500 loan, short-term loan. This is loan sharking, where, you know, they charge you an extraordinary amount of interest to get these short-term loans. So if you borrow $500, you have to pay back $800, $900, $1,000. I mean, you're talking about 100% interest. And I look out and I see all of this debt that people are in, and people are working 2 and 3 jobs. It's amazing how you look on Facebook and people say, yeah, I'm going to my second job, or I got a second job, and I'm looking and I'm like, what jobs are they getting? And then you look at the jobs that they're getting. They're getting basic service sector jobs, Walmart jobs, Dollar General jobs, Kroger jobs. I heard a whole bunch of Kroger stores are going to be closing out in, I think, Georgia or North Carolina, something like that. Sam's Club closing. And because all of these jobs are being automated. And this is where we're going. And a lot of people are in so much debt that the truth of the matter is that they'll never be able to get out of this debt. They have literally become debt slaves. Sure, there's two options to that. Because at the end of the day, you have to pay off these debts. See, there's certain debts that you just can't walk away from, like student loan debt. And then, car, if you need a car, they take your car and you still owe the money. And then you have bankruptcy. Well, if the average American cannot come up with $500 to save their own life, how are they going to afford $1,500 to file for bankruptcy, either Chapter 7 or Chapter 11? Because, it costs money to file for bankruptcy. It's not a free thing that you do. You have to file paperwork. You have to maybe hire a lawyer or a service professional or whatever to run your credit and all of this stuff. Then you have these credit service agencies where they help you fix your credit. And I saw certain fees advertised on TV or, advertised on Facebook or YouTube where they charge you as much as $1,000 to fix your credit. Now, if you can't come up with $500 to save your life, how are you going to leverage any of these services? I say all of this to say that what I see happening, and this is a very controversial topic, because if you think polygyny is a controversial topic, try being a manservant or God's laws or Yah's laws talking about male servant or female servant. And the Bible and the Ten Commandments, it talks about the notion that a man can have a male servant and a female servant. In the scriptures version, it calls male slave or female slave. And the truth of the matter is that this is where many of folks are going today. Because if you're in all this debt and you're sleeping, you know how many people I run into that are sleeping on their mother's couch that are just flat out just destitute. Destitute, have nothing. And we live in such an entitled society where everybody thinks that someone is there to bail them out of the situation that they're in. People are expecting to get put up for free. People are expecting handouts for free because, see, we live in a society where, hey, you can get all types of governmental services for free. And it costs you nothing because that's the snare of the system. They want you in debt and they want you dependent on them. And this is where many people are going. I know people that are already there. Biblical Hebrew slaves, male slaves, female slaves, and especially the women, because see, the idea is that there's more women than men on the face of planet Earth, and so typically you're going to see more female slaves because the idea is that, listen, many women today that society is being produced are not marriage material. That's just a fact of the matter. Just across the board, not marriage material. And then you have a lot of women that want to be married but don't want to be a wife. People understand what that type of talk is. They want the aura of marriage, but they do not want to be a wife. And you see where we're going clearly. And it's sad because many men or many women are simply not capable of doing the basic responsibilities of putting a roof over their head and food in their stomach. So they go to the state, and the state does that for them. And they're ensnared to the state. Now, what happens when all of these benefits start getting cut? What happens when austerity measures start to take place in this country? Where are these people going to go to put food in their bellies and a roof over their head? And just like there is a solution out there to deal with the structural issues associated with growing a vibrant family, which is polygyny, so too there is a solution for these problems, which is male servants and female servants. Now, I know a lot of people, it's very uncomfortable to think that you're going to belong, you're going to be another Hebrew's property. And it's the reason why, I know male slaves and female slaves today, they are the property of another Hebrew man. And it's totally legal and it's totally biblical. And there's no problems with it. This is like one of those little things that's just not being discussed, but it needs to be discussed because, see, this is where we're going. And the reason why they're in this situation is because they were fiscally irresponsible. Period. See, the idea is that the reason why someone is homeless or somebody's sleeping up, I always like to ask the question, why is it that this husband and wife, or why is it that this man, or why is it that this woman is such in a bad situation economically? Why? Why? It's because of them. Hey, at the end of the day, you've made the choices and decisions that you've partaken in that landed you in the situation that you're in. Just like somebody that's worked hard and has sacrificed and has gone through the painstaking measures of doing something to make something with their life and put their hands to the plow, and now they're blessed. Those people haven't done it. Those people haven't done it. And as a direct result of that, they're somebody else's property. Many people out there are going to be someone else's physical property. But they claim to be Hebrews, right? They claim to be Israelites, right? Is this not the law? Is this not the law? Of course it's the law. Many folks will qualify for male servants, female servants, concubines. This is just the truth. This is the solution to these problems. Because when you can't milk the system no more, and you've been thrown out on the street by mommy and daddy, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? See, people are going to be forced to submit. People are going to be in situations where you have no choice. Like the people that I've run across in the past. Had no choice whatsoever. When you're homeless, when you have no food and your children crying, or you can't house yourself, or what are you going to do? Of course you're going to submit. Of course you are. See, everybody just comes to these situations at different points in times where it just clicks. And they have no other choice and they have no other option. This is where we're going. We're economically bankrupt. We're spiritually bankrupt. We're morally bankrupt. And unless we get back to these laws instituted by people who understand them and know how to apply them, like the people I know who own slaves, they apply the law very much honorably. They're honorable male servants and female servants. They're honorable masters. I see nothing wrong with that deal. But like polygyny, this is an even hotter topic I believe, in my personal opinion, because this is not dealing with the notion of just some wives. This is dealing with the notion of whole families being subjugated into a slavery situation because of their lack of choices and bad choices and decisions that they've made. Be prepared. Men, be prepared. Women, hey, it's sad to see and hear of the stories that are taking place out there in that world. People are literally destitute. I mean, the situations are just bad. I mean, real bad. But hey, it got to be this way. It got to be this way. What other choice do you have? This is the way we're going. This is the way we're going as we see this slow economic decline in this country. And many of you better wise up, because many of you are going to be in this situation. And hey, it's lawful. It's biblical. The only thing is going to mess with your mind, because even though you're a debt slave now, even though you're a slave to the system, slave to socialist programs, you ain't got no problem being a slave to this world. But it's just something about clearly defining it and clearly living it that's going to shake the core of a lot of people. But at the end of the day, like I said before, I know biblical Hebrew slaves. And they got no choice. You better be happy in these situations. You better be content. And you better play your role. If you're a male servant, if you're a female servant, whether it's a concubine, a wife, or a husband, because it's all about roles. And these roles will, like they have been instituted, and they're going to be instituted on a grander scale because of the situation in this country. This is the truth. Yeah, you're going to see this become more and more prevalent, especially on communities, as all of these dozens of communities are popping up. What are these people going to do when they come? And because they're going to have to be housed, they're going to have to be fed. What are they going to do? What choices and decisions and options do they have but to go off grid economically if they're in so much debt? Let's have a discussion. Let me know what you think. Put some comments in the video in the comment section below. I'd really like to know what people are thinking out there. What are your thoughts? Do you think biblical slavery, male servants, female servants are going to be instituted in these last days? Let me know. Shalom.